Welcome to the Treasure Find. We uncover the mind-blowing story of how an ordinary-looking 1981 1-cent coin from the United States of America, yes, the humble penny, can potentially be worth a staggering $320 million due to an extraordinary combination of minting errors, historical anomalies, and unique mint mark inconsistencies that collectors and numismatic experts continue to marvel at. For those who have ever wondered whether a simple coin in your change jar could be worth a fortune, this is the video you absolutely need to watch till the end, because the tale of the 1981 Lincoln cent is not only about rarity but also about the incredible chain of events at the Denver Mint that led to this unbelievable transformation of value, taking it from a 1-cent coin to one of the most discussed and speculated numismatic treasures in modern history. Let's begin with the historical context. The Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, had already become an iconic fixture in American coinage, but by 1981, the U.S. Mint was on the cusp of a significant material change, preparing to shift from 95% copper coins to a cheaper, zinc-based core with a thin copper plating. A change that would officially roll out in 1982 due to rising copper prices. However, this transitional period in 1981 led to a variety of experimental strikes, unusual production errors, and mint mark inconsistencies, especially at the Denver Mint, where the D mint mark designates production. It's in this chaos of transition, experimentation, and high-volume minting that the mythos of the $320 million 1981 D penny begins. Most 1981 D Lincoln cents were struck in massive quantities, over 5.4 billion, to be precise, so naturally, one would think there's nothing special about them. But that's exactly what makes the discovery of certain extraordinary error coins from this mintage all the more incredible. Imagine discovering that your 1-cent coin, something you've ignored for decades, is actually struck on a bronze planchet left over from the 1970s instead of the standard copper-plated zinc that should have been in circulation, or that it bears a dramatic double-die obverse with doubling clearly visible in the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty," and even the date, 1981. Some error coins have shown evidence of misaligned dies, off-center strikes, and in extremely rare cases, transitional errors where a 1981 D penny was struck using the wrong metal composition, which should not have happened but did, possibly due to leftover copper planchets being used mistakenly before the official 1982 zinc transition. Now imagine combining multiple types of errors, such as a double-die obverse, a transitional metal planchet, and a misaligned or inverted mint mark, all in a single coin. That's what pushes the value of a coin like this from a few $1,000s into the realm of millions, and in this hypothetical yet very possible scenario, into the $320 million category. But what's even more intriguing is the legend of the master die anomaly, where certain rare coins from 1981 D show a peculiar mint mark placement, or even a floating mint mark, something that numismatic researchers and die specialists believe may have been caused by a damaged or improperly engraved master die hub used for a very limited production run. These coins are not only physically different but are one-of-a-kind errors that can't be replicated and can't be mistaken once verified. It's this kind of uniqueness that drives up collector frenzy, leading to astronomical valuations. Add to this the phenomenon of die clash errors, where the coin shows evidence of the reverse design elements appearing on the obverse due to the dies striking each other without a planchet in between, and you begin to understand how complex and rare this coin might be. Each layer of error adds to its numismatic value and appeal. Then there's the phenomenon of ghost lettering, or phantom impressions, caused when worn dies fail to fully strike the coin, leaving behind strange, almost ghost-like shadows of letters or numbers, making these coins even more mysterious and appealing to high-end collectors. Certain examples of 1981 D pennies have been found where parts of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse appear abnormally distorted or even doubled, another potential result of die fatigue, die deterioration doubling, or even hub doubling from previous generations of hub dies that were improperly maintained. While most of these errors individually would fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars on the open market, the sheer rarity of finding a coin that exhibits multiple major error types, including double die, wrong planchet, misaligned die, ghost lettering, and mint mark anomaly, means that collectors might be willing to pay unprecedented sums for a verified specimen. Now let's factor in provenance and historical speculation. There are whispered stories in the numismatic community that a small batch of these coins was produced in error, intentionally destroyed, but a few slipped through and made it into circulation. If any such coin were to be authenticated with a pristine lineage showing it escaped the Denver Mint under such circumstances, its value would skyrocket, particularly with wealthy collectors or institutions looking to own a tangible piece of minting history. Auction records have shown that rare 1-cent coins with less severe errors have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in recent years, as interest in error coins has surged thanks to online coin collecting forums and viral social media videos, demand for ultra-rare and visually dramatic errors has exploded. A 1981 D penny, featuring multiple undeniable minting anomalies, in mint state condition, with a certified grading from a top grading service like PCGS or NGC and backed by a paper trail of origin, could theoretically ignite a bidding war that drives its value into the tens of millions, and in a highly speculative and emotionally driven collector's market, even beyond that. Perhaps even up to $320 million, particularly if the coin's existence is tied to a historically significant story like a recalled batch, a die design experiment, or a deliberate test strike. The psychological allure of owning something that technically should not exist, something that bypassed the rigid quality control systems of the US Mint, and something that survived decades in the shadows until its true value was uncovered, makes such a coin irresistible to high-net-worth collectors, museums, and investors looking for ultra-rare tangible assets. And then there's the element of mystery. No one knows how many such coins exist, if any at all, or whether they were ever intentionally released. But that doesn't stop treasure hunters, hobbyists, and full-time numismatists from searching every 1981 D penny they come across, using microscopes, high-powered magnifiers, and advanced digital scanning technology to catch even the faintest evidence of a valuable anomaly. The idea that a coin, overlooked for over 40 years, might suddenly prove to be a record-breaking rarity is exactly what fuels the growing frenzy. Collectors speculate about the location of these coins. Some believe they're already in private hands, misidentified and undervalued. Others think they might be hiding in old penny jars, coin rolls from bank vaults, estate sale finds, or tucked inside coin albums forgotten in attics for decades. And when you combine all these factors, historical timing during the composition transition period, mechanical minting errors, mint mark irregularities, die fatigue, rarity, public interest, and market dynamics, you begin to see how the value of a single 1981 D Lincoln penny could leap far beyond its humble 1-cent face value. Now add to this the influence of digital marketplaces like eBay, heritage auctions, and great collections where rare coins are auctioned globally, often surpassing estimated values by millions due to bidding wars, and the rise of high-resolution coin authentication technologies that can now confirm errors once deemed too minor or doubtful. It creates the perfect storm where once ignored pocket change transforms into a numismatic megastar. Imagine a verified specimen that exhibits full double die obverse, incorrect copper planchet, a misplaced or repunched mint mark, a partial collar strike, and dramatic die rotation, all on a 1981 D Lincoln cent in near-perfect condition, and the market would go wild. Imagine that this same coin is linked through a FOIA release or old mint documentation to an experimental batch known only to a handful of insiders at the time. Its story alone could justify its price to an investor who wants the rarest of the rare, the crown jewel of US coinage errors, a legendary piece of history that no museum or private collection would ever part with willingly. These are not just coins, they are artifacts of industrial history, of American minting evolution, and of the human errors that remind us even precision machinery is not infallible. And it's this human imperfection, captured forever in copper, that makes the $320 million valuation of a 1981 D Lincoln cent not just a fantasy, but a genuine possibility in the eyes of the right buyer. So if you happen to come across a 1981 D penny in your collection or loose change, take a second look. It might be worth more than you ever imagined, and who knows, maybe you're holding the next multi-million-dollar treasure waiting to be discovered, verified, and celebrated as one of the greatest numismatic finds in history. Keep searching, stay curious, and happy collecting. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the 2001 United States 1-cent coin, a humble penny that could be worth an astounding $95 million. Yes, you heard that right. $95 million for a coin that was supposed to be worth just 1 cent. But how could such a staggering value be attached to a coin so common? What secrets does this particular piece of copper-plated zinc hold? And what are the specific errors, minting anomalies, and unexpected characteristics that have turned this seemingly trivial coin into one of the most talked about rarities in the numismatic world. To understand this, we must first delve into the historical context of the 2001 penny, examining the minting process, the technologies involved, the types of errors that could occur, and how such errors slip through stringent quality control measures at the United States Mint. In 2001, the U.S. Mint produced billions of 1-cent coins primarily at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, designated by the P and D mint marks respectively, although the Philadelphia Mint typically omits the mint mark on pennies. The minting process involves a detailed and high-precision system, starting with metal composition and blank preparation, followed by striking with carefully crafted dies that imprint Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design used since 1959 and continued through 2008 before the transition to the Lincoln Bicentennial and Shield reverses in later years. Despite the sophistication of this process, mint errors are not unheard of, and some errors can dramatically increase a coin's value, depending on their rarity, visibility, and historical intrigue. Now imagine a coin struck with multiple errors, each compounding its uniqueness, and thus its value in the eyes of collectors. Among the possibilities that could drive the 2001 1-cent coin's value to $95 million are double die obverse or reverse errors, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die caps, die clashes, wrong planchet strikes, transitional errors, and rare mint mark misplacements or anomalies. Let's explore these possibilities one by one in great detail to understand how each could contribute to making this coin exceptionally valuable. Double die errors are among the most sought-after mistakes in coin collecting, occurring when the die itself is incorrectly engraved with a doubled image, causing a blurry or duplicated appearance of certain details like the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty." A 2001 penny with a clearly visible double die obverse, particularly on the date or the lettering, could command immense interest from collectors. Similarly, if the reverse shows doubling on the Lincoln Memorial pillars or inscriptions such as 1 cent or United States of America, it adds another layer of desirability. Off-center strikes occur when the blank planchet is not properly aligned with the dies during striking, resulting in a coin that is missing part of its design and sometimes even part of its rim. The more dramatic the off-center strike, especially with visible date and inscriptions, the higher the value. A 2001 penny struck 75% off-center but still displaying a full date could be worth tens of thousands on its own, and when combined with other errors, its value multiplies. Broad strike errors happen when the retaining collar, which keeps the planchet in place and gives the coin its rim, is missing or malfunctions, causing the coin to spread out wider than normal without a defined rim. A 2001 penny with a broad strike error would stand out immediately to collectors. A die cap error occurs when a coin becomes stuck to the die and continues to strike other planchets, gradually taking on a bottle cap appearance as metal flows around it. These types of errors are dramatic and extremely collectible, especially if the design becomes ghosted or warped in unusual ways. Die clash errors happen when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving behind parts of each other's design on the wrong side of the coin. These ghostly impressions of the Lincoln Memorial on the obverse or Lincoln's face on the reverse can be quite eerie and highly valuable. Then there are wrong planchet errors, where a penny is accidentally struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or even a coin from another country. Imagine a 2001 1-cent coin struck on a dime planchet, which is thinner and smaller, or on a foreign coin blank. Such mistakes are rare and usually happen during transition periods or due to leftover blanks from previous years or denominations. Transitional errors are another exciting possibility. These occur when a coin is struck using designs or planchets that were only supposed to be used in another year, often due to leftover materials or miscommunication during minting transitions. Although 2001 wasn't a major transition year for pennies, there's always a chance that leftover planchets from prior years, or even experimental blanks, were used accidentally. Perhaps the most captivating errors of all involve the mint mark. Mint mark anomalies can range from missing mint marks to repunched mint marks, RPMs, or even incorrect ones, such as a D, where a P should be, or vice versa. On rare occasions, coins have been discovered with multiple mint marks or with mint marks that appear hand-punched and misaligned, practices phased out decades earlier but which sometimes resurface in rare instances due to mint machinery quirks or human error. A 2001 penny with a deeply mispunched or rotated mint mark, especially if accompanied by a double die or off-center strike, could reach astronomical valuations. Let's imagine a theoretical specimen of the 2001 1-cent coin with the following unique attributes: a double die obverse with noticeable doubling on the year end. Liberty. A reverse die clash with partial outlines of Lincoln's face bleeding into the columns of the memorial. A 60% off-center strike revealing a crescent of blank planchet but still showcasing the date and most of Lincoln's profile, and a mysterious D mint mark that appears rotated and heavily repunched, possibly even sitting on top of a faint P. Add to that a die cap feature and an unusual metal composition test revealing traces of experimental alloy, and you have what might be the ultimate error coin, a coin so unique that it becomes a once-in-a-lifetime collectible. But valuation is not merely based on error types alone. Rarity, provenance, collector demand, and public interest also play major roles in determining value. A one-of-a-kind 2001 penny with stacked errors like the ones described would be fiercely sought after by top-tier collectors and institutions, driving its price higher and higher. Imagine this coin surfacing at an auction house like Heritage or Stack's Bowers, with bidding wars erupting among elite collectors, hedge fund-backed investors, and museums eager to own a piece of minting history. In such a frenzy, it's not unthinkable for bidding to escalate into the tens of millions, ultimately settling at $95 million or more if the coin carries enough mystique and historical significance. Additionally, this specific coin might come with a backstory. Perhaps it was discovered in pocket change, kept unknowingly in a jar for decades, or found in an estate sale tucked away in a cigar box. These kinds of origins only add to the romance and appeal of ultra-rare error coins. Media coverage, viral social media posts, and endorsements from numismatic experts would only amplify its fame and further justify its multi-million-dollar valuation. Moreover, authentication and grading would be crucial. A coin of this magnitude would likely be slabbed and graded by premier services like PCGS or NGC, receiving designations such as Mint Error, Discovery Piece, or even Unique Specimen. A high grade like MS65 or MS67, especially for a coin with such errors, would be mind-blowing and add incredible value. Some experts might call it the most important modern-era penny ever discovered. Meanwhile, the ripple effects of such a find could stimulate renewed interest in early 2000s pennies among the collector community, prompting treasure hunts in collections, bank rolls, and old penny jars across the country. Forums, blogs, and YouTube channels would light up with speculation, guides on how to identify similar errors, and debates over the coin's true origin and potential. Collectors would begin re-examining their 2001 cents under magnification, looking for clues, ghosted images, misaligned letters, die chips, cuds, and other telltale signs of value. Even small errors on 2001 pennies, once ignored, could now command significant premiums thanks to the spotlight on this single multi-million-dollar coin. Coin dealers might increase the value of any 2001 penny with an anomaly, while counterfeiters would inevitably attempt to replicate the find, making authentication and certification even more critical. This would likely prompt the U.S. Mint and grading companies to release educational materials on detecting genuine errors versus altered coins, further enriching the community's knowledge base. Over time, the legend of the $95 million 2001 penny would enter numismatic lore, standing alongside famous rarities like the 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die, and the 1909 SVDB. It would become a symbol of the idea that even in the 21st century, incredible rarities can still be found in everyday change. Its discovery would reinforce the enduring appeal of coin collecting, not just as a hobby, but as a realm where history, artistry, and fortune intersect. The 2001 1-cent coin worth $95 million isn't just a fantasy, it's a possibility born from a perfect storm of error, rar,